the moment we've all been waiting for.
Ooh.
Courtney is talking with Kendall, and it's juicy,
Oh,
and there's a lot of crying, and
oh
it's
my
long.
gosh.
So bear with me, guys.
Hmm.
So it's basically Courtney and Kendall talking, and then Courtney saying that, she knows that Kim is in Milan doing the Chow Kim Dolce Vita life thing or whatever she wants to call it. Um, and Court says that that's her life, the Dolce Vita. She has lived that life for 5 years. And, she basically said that Kim called her and, told her that Dolce and Gabbana had approached her for a Skims collab. And she was like, why are you telling me this? Like, why did you call me for to get my blessing? And then Kim was like, well, kinda, sorta, yeah.
Yeah.
Then Kim called again. This is not, this is chatter. Then Kim called Chloe again, not Chloe, Courtney again, and said that she wanted Courtney to go to Milan. She was reworking the collab, but she didn't go into specifics.
Hmm.
And Courtney says that that's the last time she heard about it. Courtney feels like there is an abundance of opportunities, and then starts crying,
Yeah.
meaning, abundance of opportunities. Like Kim should have put her first because she basically is copying all her wedding vibes with the 90s references. It's never enough for Kim. She doesn't turn things down because it doesn't make sense, whatever that means. Kim is not, she mentioned that Kim was not happy at her wedding, and people kept telling her that, and that Kim was spiraling. So technically, I need to see this Trav and Courtney
I
thing now
know.
because I need
Me
to see
too.
like how Kim was behaving. She says that Kim only sees the dollar signs. Chris, her mom, never said anything about this collaboration. Um, and basically, where did I have this quote? Um, she said that Kim is driven but doesn't know what drives her.
Oh my gosh. All right, y'all. We're gonna get into it. This right here,
I have a
this is a lot.
headache. It's a lot.
Okay, literally, my notes, that's the biggest portion from my
Yeah.
notes. So Kendall and Courtney being together seems appropriate, you know, because I feel like Kendall is the one to like probably give the least amount of pushback, and Kendall probably could appease her more. So that was appropriate, I guess. Um, her talking about how she's lived the Dolce Vita for the last 5 years. She's, been friends with Domenico, with Dolce Gabbana, and, vacationed with them in Portofino and all these things. Great, lovely, awesome, amazing. What does that have to do with this, though? Like, because it was coming off to me a little bit of jealousy because they reached out to Kim, but you've been the one vacationing with them. You've been the one cultivating a friendship with them. They opened up their 90s archive for your wedding, right? I assume because of the friendship, because of the relationship. But why didn't they choose you to do a collab with?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, why isn't she mad at DNG for not doing why isn't she the creative director? Why isn't she mad at them? And
Right,
Kylie, because she's done stuff with Dolce and Gabbana too. She's
right,
only mad at Kim.
right. So the next thoughts that I was having was just kind of like, okay, well, sure, we're back to there is a direct correlation. There is a direct link to Courtney's wedding. Definitely, for sure. But she had the 90s collection opened up for the family. And in that family is Kim Kardashian, who then
Hmm.
chose looks that apparently Dolce and Gabbana were like, I'll mess with her. I'll mess with her.
We got
I'm
something going
sorry.
here with bringing this back.
Maybe Kim's looks sparked joy. Maybe Kim's looks sparked creativity. No. Clearly something was sparked because then this all came about. But Courtney's not seeing that. In this whole thing that she's talking about, she's not seeing any of that. She starts to cry after Kendall says how she sees both sides. And I'm just like, why are you so affected by this, right? Like, I can understand being a little ticked off, but to be like hurt, because that's exactly what she sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, whoa. Like to me, and I literally wrote that down. I was like, she just seems jealous. And then I really like felt like just like yucky when she said Kim wasn't happy at my wedding. Kim was spiraling. And I was just like, so like if Kim would have made these comments about you after your breakup with Scott, how would you have taken that? If Kim's friends were saying that you were spiraling after the breakup with Scott, like how would you have taken that? Did you defend Kim? Like, because as far as we know, as far as the world knows, Kim was going through a very nasty divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. How is it appropriate for you to sit there and like basically take offense to her going through whatever feelings she may have been going through, and then to for it to be okay for you to even say publicly, my friends kept telling me she was spiraling.
I want to know who these friends are because she keeps referencing these friends, and I'm like, I don't think she's ever had great friend selection. As soon as I saw Addison, is that her name? Addison Ray?
Addison, yeah.
He was always friends with Scott's girlfriends. Weird. Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's the Hispanic in me. I can't be friends with my ex-boyfriend's girlfriend. What? No.
No.
He was mine. Now he's somebody else's.
Right.
Like, we're not friends.
No fun.
Um, so I don't know. I just find it very questionable. Like, she's gonna allow her friends to talk about her family like that, like Kim like that. As far as we've seen with the Kardashians, they've always been like a tight-knit family. We saw a whole Kylie defriend her best friend Jordan
Oh my
over something
God.
that she did to Chloe.
Yeah.
And prior to that, we've seen, other instances where it's family over everything. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's like one of my appeals about the Kardashians. I'm like, whatever they're going through, whether they're money hungry, whether they're doing an
Famous
event, they're
people.
showing up for each other, they're always together,
Yeah.
and I don't understand these friends that she's hanging around with and her siding with these friends.
That was disrespectful AF to
It
me.
was.
Like, like what really just like to me was I could have very easily gone the Kendall route and seen both sides, definitely. But when she started saying that,
Mm-hmm.
that seems vicious to me because it's like I'm not gonna talk about my sister like that. And ain't nobody gonna talk about my sister like that to me. Like that does not seem right. And it just furthered my feelings that she was just like jealous of her. And,
Why is she jealous? Like, I think that's what I'm trying to figure out.
because Courtney's the oldest, but it's her younger sister getting all the shine. And like,
Younger
so,
sisters, it's multiple of them getting the shine.
but she's closest in age with Kim. So that's always, like she mentioned in prior episodes, they've always had like a competition.
Yeah.
But, it's like, and then on top of that, let's not forget that before Kylie, Chris's favorite was Kim for a very,
Hmm.
very long time. So, and I'm sure that that couldn't have been like something easy for her to deal with all these years. But yeah, no, it was like I think that whole little segment of her kind of like saying all of that. If she had not mentioned any of that, I probably would have sided with Courtney. Like,
I was siding with her up to
yeah,
one point. I was like, well, maybe, I guess she's really affected by it and I feel kind of bad. And if you guys follow us, I ride hard on Courtney. I do not like her and this iteration of her.
yeah,
But I was feeling bad and I was like, man, I mean, I guess I can see,
hmm,
but then it just went another direction. She was
yeah,
doing vicious things. So, to continue on with some notes I took, Court says that there was like this group chat, and Chris was saying, "Hey, can you guys post this T-shirt about Chow Kim or whatever?" And Courtney was not having it, and she wasn't doing it. And she says to Kendall that, Courtney, that she's in her own world, and didn't care to post Kim being in Milan and doing the Dolce& and Gabbana show. And then she proceeded to post pictures of her wedding and how, Dolce& and Gabbana opened the 90s archive for her and how much she loved the dresses. And, I didn't see it like that on Instagram. I just saw it like a whole campaign all together.
Hmm.
All the Kardashians writing for D&G. I didn't know that there was beef then.
Yeah.
But, she's purposely doing this now to get attention away from Kim.
Hmm.
And she said it's basically healthy to have your own identity, and that's why she stays apart from the family, blah, blah, blah. But if she doesn't like her family so much, then why is she still doing the show and trying to be with them? Like, I don't understand. If I don't like
Yeah.
somebody, I'm not around you, point blank, period.
Right. And we've talked about it on other episodes. It doesn't make any sense for her to continue if she's been this unhappy. And then like one of the other things that I like wrote down was that she was mad because at the wedding Kim didn't acknowledge how great her wedding weekend was because everybody else was saying how amazing everything was, but Kim wasn't acknowledging that. Like she said something along the lines of like, would it, have killed her to just like say, hey, this is like awesome or something? Why do you need that? Like, I don't know. That's
Did
weird
she
to
do the
me.
wedding for Kim's validation at this
Right.
point? Yeah.
It just didn't make sense. And then it didn't look like she wanted Kim to do a toast at her wedding, because she didn't want spotlight on Kim.
Hmm.
And then Kendall being or trying to be Switzerland was like she doesn't think it was handled fairly. And she could see both sides. And then Courtney kind of did say or implied she was also mad at her mom because her mom never talked to her about this whole Dolce thing. Which I could totally see that because Chris is a particular kind of way. Um, and then she's like, Courtney was just taking it all very, very personal. And the
Hmm.
whole t-shirt thing, like how that just like made her really mad. Or she claims it was what Chloe said in the family text group chat that really pissed her off because Courtney was trying to be ambivalent about everything, and then Chloe, I guess, said, "Yeah, remember the people who did your wedding or something like that," and that triggered Courtney into like this whole thing because Courtney had opened up her gotten them to open up the '90s collection. Courtney had done this and this and that, and so like there were points where she was having her whole like spiel where I was like, I can see where she would be upset, sure. I think she also removed herself from, the family group chat and all that. It was like a whole thing. Um, but it was just like it was just that whole viciousness against him that really made it difficult for me to be like, you're right, Courtney. You have a point.
Um, and then I also feel like the family is walking on eggshells with Courtney. It's like,
Mhm.
just, validate her feelings. Maybe Chris avoided her because she didn't want to deal with this crap.
Yeah,
Like, we none of us know what is going on with Courtney. I'm still like five
yeah,
years in and I don't know what's going on with her
yeah,
and why she's behaving this way. And there's like some really deep-rooted issues with her and Kim. Like,
yeah,
we can't even begin to comprehend what it is. So
yeah,
maybe that's why her mom didn't say it. At the same time, the mom is a manager. So
yeah,
maybe she should have mentioned it, but that's Kim's business. It has
yeah.
nothing to do with, you know,
Yeah.
I don't understand why she was so upset still.
The one point where I was kind of like, okay, I can kind of see a little bit of her point. It was just how like, she said this, I did this for my wedding, right? It was for a personal thing. It was for something that, meant something to me in a personal sense. Whereas Kim is doing this as a business choice. Kim is, like she said, she doesn't know what's driving Kim. Girl, we all know what's driving Kim: money, longevity, stability. Like, I don't know how you can't see it. That's your sister, but whatever.
Mhm.
Like, all of these things that she was just kind of like, you know, saying, like, some of it, yes, it was adding up. Okay, I get where you're coming from, you know, especially given her history, all of the issues that Courtney's had with her love life, obviously because of Scott and everything. To have found somebody that she clearly was so in love with, or is still in love with, of course, with her husband Travis Barker, and to want to have this very special moment and these memories that are just solely about you two. I get that, and I
Mhm.
can see how him turning it into a business situation like could, you know, could affect you in some ways, but to the extent that it has, and then like the viciousness of like, oh, Kim is spiraling, this and that, that to me was like, okay, yeah, I can't take your side on this, man. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I just think that she should be mad at everybody. If
Right,
Domenico and Stefano Gabbana are your longtime friends and you guys go to Portofino and you guys are having summers together as a friend, they probably should have told her, "Hey, I'm
yeah,
doing this collab with Kim." Or, should have been mad at them like, "Hey, they didn't offer me this opportunity. I'm the one bringing the 90s wave back, even though she's not, because bell bottoms are back or flare jeans.
right,
Like all the 90s fashion is back. So she's not like somebody that invented the 90s looks to be monopolizing, you
right,
know, all of it. She should be mad at Kylie because Kylie has done campaigns with Dolce. She should be mad at her mom because as her manager, she didn't tell her about this opportunity probably. I guess be mad at Kim also, but I think it should just be pissed
across
across
the
the
board.
board or just let it go. I mean, it's easier said than done, but what are we really mad at?
Yeah,
Her saying that I'm mad that she's copying my looks is so juvenile.
yeah, very.
This is like an 8 and 9 year old having a fight. Oh, she's copying me.
Hmm. That's exactly what it looked like.
And on top of that, she should be mad at herself because if that's everything that she's doing, why didn't she think about doing a collab with them? Like, have some accountability. It's like, oh,
Right,
I'm bringing this wave. Like, let me monopolize on it. Let me make some money. At the end of the day, what's her face? Kim.
Courtney. Oh, Kim.
Uh, at the end of the day, Kim is the face of the Kardashians, the face of the Kardashians. Everybody wants a piece. I'm saying this in the nicest way. A piece of
Yeah,
Kim. We know that she's revenue generating. We know that she's going to bring buzz to the business. And that's definitely what Dolce& and Gabbana wanted. Look at how much traction she brought to Balenciaga, her and Kanye.
yeah,
So wherever Kim goes or whatever Kim does, it's done well. So why
yeah,
wouldn't I, as Dolce and Gabbana, want Kim to be creative director and bring me all this money?
right.
Especially since Dolce and Gabbana is like a high fashion luxury brand, but when we think about it right now, Chanel, uh, Hermes, probably Louis Vuitton, like all these other brands are mentioned way more, at least in my
Yeah,
opinion, or from what I follow, more than Dolce and Gabbana.
right,
So I think that they're trying to come back,
right,
into, people's minds and, bring in some chatter. So
right,
why would I want to do that with Courtney? What has
right.
Courtney done?
Ooh. Well, and to your point, let's talk about the fact that, okay, sure, you're talking about you would have liked because as your friends, they should have said something. As your family, they should have said something. But let's not forget, these are all business people.
Hmm.
All of them. Every single, your mother, a business. Your sister, a business. Dolce and Gabbana, a business. I don't understand why she couldn't separate the two, right? Like,
And Kendall even mentioned that to her, that Courtney should
yeah,
understand Kim's point of view also.
yeah. And I don't think that Courtney makes that attempt. I think that's something else. Now, what I will give her credit for is that I think towards the end of the conversation with Kendall, she said she was not going to bring this up to Kim, that weekend because that was her weekend for the show. So she was trying to, at the very least, not ruin it for her, right? So I can give her credit for that because she could have easily been like, let me call this B word up and go off on her. Let me ruin her fashion, like, debut, whatever. Like, but she didn't, so I give her some credit for that.
I don't give her credit because she went to the group chat, or we'll see later on, to Chloe and Chris and brought up her disdain towards this whole thing. So
Yeah.
what, they're in Milan and you expect them not to tell Kim?
I mean, you would think, whatever.
Exactly.
It's a
Uh,
lot,
I don't know what's going on with Court, but best of luck to her.
for
We'll
sure.
we'll we'll, we'll see what keeps on happening the next, what, 5 or 6 episodes, and
Yeah.
good luck to her.